What is up, y'all? Hope you're doing well. I am burnt like toast, so I'm gonna make this as fast as I can, but still not rush through it. So we're here for our weekly anchor message where we get our spiritual lessons and assignments for the week. Valentine's weekend, it was very hard. All of my bones are aching and screaming, and I'm tired, but this is a huge week, so it's important to get our consciousness centered at the seed level of the week. This week we have our Aquarius new moon tomorrow with a solar eclipse, and it's tomorrow morning, I believe. And then we have later in the week on the 20th or 21st, the Saturn Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries, which is huge. Never happened in our lifetime, will never happen again. I think that the Pisces placement itself, Pisces moving into Aries, was at the end and beginning of a 330-year cycle. But I think this conjunction with Pisces and Neptune in Aries at 0 degrees hasn't happened in 2,000 years and won't happen again for 2,000 years. So it is cray. So big energy. So it'd be good to be aware of that and conscious of it and intentional with it throughout the week, just knowing that big reset energy. So I'm going to show you guys the cards. I'll let you hear the audio, and then we'll come back and talk about them more. So the orphan card, followed by the vow, followed by agape. And then these other two cards came out together, Warrior and Riddle. It's like we're untangling a mystery. And then as far as our tarot cards give us some more clarification, we've got the Magician, followed by the Queen of Swords reverse, followed by 4 of Swords. So I'm going to let you guys listen to this audio, and we'll be right back. Holy Aquarius, new moon, solar eclipse, Neptune, Saturn conjunction, and 0 degrees of Aries Batman. This week, our collective unity harnesses warrior energy and vowing to protect and stand with the vulnerable and the innocent. And that includes the fresh and delicate new self that is being birthed as well. We have a renewed sense of clarity and passion mixed with discipline, devotion, pragmatic action, and sustained endurance to dismantle, clean, reconstruct, and create our new timeline with consciousness and intention. The more selfless we are in aligning with prioritizing the good of the collective over advancing self-interest, the more powerful and quick we become at manifesting our new reality. We are channeling God's love and light into the world through our collective consciousness and actions. There is an energetic influence of toxic feminine vengeful deceptiveness coming through as we see personified and embodied so poignantly right now in the form of you-know-who in the oversight hearing for the you-know-whats. But she's just an archetype of a vessel for the feminine spirit of the opponent to express herself through. We see examples of this type everywhere. Rest assured that while this spiritual entity is desperately thrashing for survival, we can rest assured that we servants of God are needed and divinely directed and protected. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. Okay, so the Saturn and Neptune conjunction in Aries. Aries is the baby of the zodiac, the child of the zodiac. the orphan here, what is an orphan? An orphan is a child that doesn't have parents, right? The orphan is not looked after. It's not tended to. The orphan, sorry to call it, but they are neglected and kind of left to have to raise themselves. Even if they were in an ideal orphanage, they're in a group setting, so it's not like they get like personable mentorship or deep, love like you would from a family member. So I think that the orphan is a part of us, that inner child part of us that feels like it was abandoned or neglected or ignored. And there is, that wound in childhood where we might have that perception or we might have that very real experience, but then it plays out in our life and in our adulthood with our unrealized, unhealed inner child sort of feeling like an orphan, like feeling very left out in the cold, feeling very exposed, feeling like no one's looking out for you. And then the inner child can be kind of running amok because the inner child hasn't been parented. The inner child doesn't have structure. The inner child, needs guidance and wants to feel secure, needs discipline, needs structure, needs boundaries to thrive. So Saturn is coming in like the cosmic parent, like that fatherly energy, and offering us discipline. Whereas like Pisces is very like kind of with the inner child, like I love the imagination, I love to be dramatic, I love to dream and ruminate and imagine, and I spin illusions, and I maybe be a little bit wishy-washy and maybe don't always follow through. I've got ideas and I'm drunk on the potential of these ideas, and I'm great at talking about them and, role playing them. But as far as like bringing them into the material, Pisces isn't always, at least that Neptunian energy isn't always the strongest at that, especially when you also have the impulsiveness of the cardinal energy of Aries at play, but it's that young energy. It hasn't been brought through the whole zodiac, right? So it's not mature yet. It's not brought into its fullness, its wholeness. So there's a lot of fresh energy in Aries to go out and do and create and make, but sometimes there's not a lot of follow through because there's not the maturity of discipline and structure, and there's not a container there to be sustainable a lot of times. So what's happening with all of these elements coming together in 0 degrees of Aries in this moment where we are launching into like Netflix, the series Us, right? It's our new show. It's our new story. It's our new timeline. And we are co-creating the project, right? We are writing our script. We get to create our life and our world going forward with more intention. And so, but it's going to be up to us to have that kind of wherewithal and proactiveness to do that, because it's just as easy than ever to just get lost in the day and pulled to and fro and get distracted and get lost within the illusion, the grand scheme of things. So this energy, this cosmic weather is helping us to take those dreams, bring them into materialization through like pragmatic action steps that are sustained, that have discipline, that have structure, but with the excitement and enthusiasm and boldness and daringness and fire of Aries. Starting over, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac again, and 0 degrees is the first second of that, the beginning of the cycle. So we're here at the beginning, at the starting line, and we're waiting for that starting pistol to go off. And so this conjunction is kind of like that starting pistol, especially with like the new moon happening with an eclipse. It's like one last moment to strip away anything that doesn't belong on the other side of this eclipse season, right? Eclipse seasons come in and they're like a cosmic tropical storm, and they blow around and they flood and they wash through and they take away anything that's not meant to be there any longer, anything that is expired, you really don't want eclipse season to take it from you, because it'll pry it out of your dead, lifeless fingers. You hopefully will let it go before that. Like, it's just a very powerful cleaning agent. It's like a cosmic vacuum cleaner that just comes and sucks it all up. Now, what's interesting too is that tomorrow ends the year of the snake, and we're going into the Lunar New Year as far as the Chinese calendar goes. And so we're leaving behind the old shedding of the snake, the shedding of old skins that we've outgrown. And that eclipse is cleaning all that nasty shedded skin up, right? I don't know. That wasn't real words. I'm kind of low on brain juice right now, y'all. So the snake, the year of the snake is ending. We've shed all these old skins. The solar eclipse is coming through to clean things out. Eclipse season in general is cleaning things out. Things they might be obscured, but they're going to be out in the open. Like, things that have been kept in secret are going to be coming out. What is being shielded from our awareness, like what is being kept behind a veil right now, will be revealed. This energy is activating that revelation of light, of information, of manifestation, right? And so now we're going through this portal, through this threshold into the year of the fire horse. So fire horse energy is like, you think speed and impulsive and torque, the widespread twerking, like torque, right? Like velocity. But we don't want it to be reckless and out of control, right? We want it to be like precise and controlled and managed and disciplined. So we're reparenting that inner child. We're giving ourselves more structure. We're giving ourselves more discipline, and that's actually allowing us to thrive and have more freedom and more enjoyment in our life, rather than have no structure and be kind of scrambling around to like finish things through the day and catching up at the last minute and not really having time to do all the things that you wanted, plus not having time to do all the fun, nice, enjoyable things that you wanted to do either. Whereas when you have structure, and I struggle with this too, I need to really get like locked in on my bedtimes so that I can film before work. But when you have structure, you have a container in which, if you stick with it, you can create and reveal so much more. If I stick with my schedule and get up early and really pay attention to how I'm moving through my day, I can live my best life. Like, honestly, like, I can work out, I can create, I can do creative work, I can film, I can do my house chores, and then I can go into work feeling good, feeling like I did everything, all my personal stuff through the day, and then go make my money, and then come home and theoretically relax after that, and then be able to read and watch, whatever, cook, this and that. So having more structure and discipline actually ends up giving you more freedom in the end, because you have created space and a container to get the important things, give them their own time slot, but you also give the other important things, which is your joy and your fulfillment and the rest and replenishment. Those have their own time slots too. They're equally valued, so they're equally scheduled out and provided time for. So all it takes is a bit of discipline, bit of structure, and we're feeling that, and I think we're getting on board. Now the vow. So I think that this is it has a lot of layers to it. For starters, we're vowing to ourselves to take care of the children. Right? The children of the world who need help, children of the world who are struggling, the children of the past who are now adults who, maybe had experiences in the past that need to be reckoned with and reconciled and brought to rightness and completion. And then we're vowing to protect the future children. It's like there's so many looming problems on this planet, but there's also so many brilliant people with so many great solutions and ideas. It's just we've got to get the people and the systems that are actively trying to maintain the old structure for their own benefit out of the way. They're actively working against us innovating and finding solutions because they profit more from the problem, right? And so we're vowing like, no, we're not doing this. We're moving forward. We're building a bright new future and a brave new world. And we're vowing to do this. Now, in the meantime, it's important that we are tying up and cutting the cords for like outdated spiritual contracts that no longer serve our highest good, right? If we, for instance, had a spiritual contract in the upper realms to go through certain challenges, and we've gone through those challenges and we've learned from them, and they're not really serving us anymore, and they're holding us back going to the next stage. It's like we've got to let go of those soul contracts and those vows. Like in other lifetimes, you might have taken a vow of poverty or a vow of silence or a vow of chastity, and it's holding you back in this lifetime, and it's not serving you anymore. Or maybe in this life you have experienced poverty and you have been able to learn the lessons that you gained from experiencing uncertainty around money. It strengthened your faith. It gave you a greater desire to create more financial stability and be a more responsible steward of your finances. But maybe you're still having like trouble with money and you're not sure why, because you're trying to make good decisions, but then like all these like random things keep like popping up that cost you money, that keep you kind of broke, and you're never able to like go past like the certain mark. Well, you could have a energetic spiritual contract that's still going, that where you think you're still trying to work on your money issues, and in your consciousness you're still identifying with that identity of a person that is like needing to work on their money issues. But you already have, and you've learned the lesson, right? And so now it's about becoming the person that has a healthy relationship with money. So it's like shifting the consciousness, shifting the energy, shifting our behaviors, and also maybe doing like some kind of ritual or something intentional to visualize and do like a physical action that represents tearing up that old contract, burning that old contract, cutting a cord. We can like latch on to a pattern because like something subconsciously in us thinks it's serving us, and maybe it's holding us back, right? So again, just re-examine like where we can let go of those old vows. Maybe you, in a moment of pain or fear, were like, I will never do that again, or I will never be like that. But it was in a heightened moment of like maybe through a trauma lens, right? And so maybe that blanket statement is still echoing in the subconscious, holding you back from things. Now, back to the money that like won't go past a certain point. Your nervous system might not be able to grasp the normality of having that amount of money for you yet. It may feel so foreign that it's out of its comfort zone. And so it manifests something to cost you, a certain amounts of money, so that your bank account is always like sitting at a certain level. It's like the level that your nervous system is used to, the level that your subconscious is used to. Maybe it's something that you think you don't deserve more than that, or you can't handle more than that. But there can be a subconscious block that creates money sabotaging things that just come up, and they seem random, but they're not. And so we need to be aware of that and let go of that and release those vows, right? And make new vows to ourselves to make proactive, responsible, abundant choices. And then another thing is that we're vowing is to be a greater vessel of the light and love of the Creator. And so that's the whole point of this life and the whole point of spirituality and spiritual growth. It's not to become more comfortable and pacified through our days, but it's actually, to become a vessel that can channel more of God's love into the world and God's light. And who needs it, right now? I mean, all of these, like the most prominent stories that are at the forefront right now that are focused around like children, the vulnerable, it's like we need to make a vow to use our strength. Where's that? The warrior, to solve these problems and these riddles and these mysteries. We need to make it our vow to, in the name of all that is holy, fight to bring more of God's love into this world, to show it to each other, to protect the vulnerable and the meek and the innocent. And we're doing it in the name of God, in the name of love, and we are servants of God. And it occurred to me today when I was just thinking about some things, and it was just like worrying about things that I don't have control over, right? And it had to do with other people who might, not have good intentions, right? And it might mean that like they might have bad intentions for their own motives, their own comfort zone, right? And I heard this voice in my head, and it may have been wrong, it may have been right, but it felt like it was one of those times where like the Holy Spirit whispers something to you. But I heard this clear voice say, God needs you to be focused more than he needs that person to be content in their comfort zone. So that made a lot of sense to me, because in our mind, we think that if we're like in our comfort zone and everything's all chill and everything's all good, we think that is something that like God intends for us. Like, oh, God must be smiling on you. You're in your comfort zone. But comfort zone is complacency, and it doesn't really get a fire under your ass to get out there and be a greater vessel of sharing, of helping where help is needed, or giving where giving is needed, or, just showing up in positive ways. And so when we're in our comfort zone, it usually doesn't bring us a lot closer to God either, right? God gives us experiences and circumstances that will bring our soul closer to the Creator and make our soul more like the Creator. That's the true blessing. And sometimes those conditions and circumstances are dressed in pretty rough outfits. It's not always comfort zone and niceties. And so when you have put yourself in the way of difficulty to make an effort to accept the fact that following Christ, following God, making those right choices, developing your soul is not going to be the easy street. It's going to be difficult. There are going to be extra challenges in that. But knowing that, and knowing that it gets you closer to God and closer, like you feel the presence of God through those things, and it awakens parts of you that would have been dormant otherwise. And so it's so much worth it. And then you look at someone who's just complacent in their comfort zone. They're not getting closer to God. They're just going through the motions, maintaining the status quo. You see the difference. You're like, oh yeah, people have always, dismissed me as like my family, my evangelical family, think that I am cursed because I am a tarot reader and I don't have all the things that they have. But the thing is that like I don't own a house and I'm not married. I don't have a traditional career or a lot of financial security, but I'm closer with the Creator than anybody I know. And I have a sharper intuition and a clearer channel than anybody I know. And I can see things playing out, and I can see behind the veil, and I can see the value in things that may look rough on the surface, but I can see also the curse in things that look shiny on the surface. And so I don't think that my different life is an indication that I'm not blessed. Exactly the opposite. But they don't have eyes to see that or a way to understand that necessarily. But this is the topic of the Torah commentary for this week, interestingly enough. So we have this new energy coming through to support us in intentionally creating this new chapter in our life for ourselves and really embodying this new identity, this new sense of self in that Aries energy. And I think that we're starting to untangle and unravel the mysteries of, why our lives have played out the way that they have, or why we're in certain circumstances, right? We're starting to see the value behind them. And we're starting to see that what looked like, when we compared ourselves to the Joneses, what looked nice and comfortable on the outside actually had something, a darker truth behind it, right? Or just lackluster even. So I think that as we unravel these mysteries, these riddles, I think that we can accept that some things we will never understand, but generally we understand that the soul wants to be closer to the Creator, to God, and God wants to be closer to our soul. And the flesh suit, the body consciousness, is in direct conflict with that agenda, usually most of the time. So it's learning how to retrain ourselves with new eyes, with a new lens, a new perception of, how we rate things that are happening to us and how we see the value in our difficulties as well as the good times too. People who have been through things, they have more understand, or they have more understanding of others. They have more compassion. And when you don't go through anything, you don't have as much understanding, and you kind of don't have as much empathy or compassion because you haven't experienced it yourself, right? So let's see what we have here. And so then we have the Magician here, which is that Aries energy. It's that intentional manifestation, the very beginning of the cycle starting. We are at the seed level, so our consciousness right now is really shaping the seeds that we are planting. So fast manifestation can happen, quicker and quicker manifestations. I've been noticing just random things that are manifesting very quickly that I've noticed, and that's weird. And the other day I noticed there was maybe a 15-minute gap in the clocks between my inside clock and my car clock. And then when I got in the car today, they're the same. So there's something weird going on. And I had a table of the most normal people you can imagine last night, and they were talking about waking up on a different timeline. So it's now widespread, y'all. A couple of years ago, I'm starting to talk about these things like timelines, jumping timelines. I didn't know anybody was talking about it. Didn't know this was being birthed and coming online in people's consciousness and the zeitgeist. And now it's just the most random people are just casually talking about noticing inconsistencies and being I think we jumped timelines. I think we woke up in a different timeline. And so then be careful, because we have this Queen of Swords reverse energy right now. Queen of Swords reverse it's she's a gossipy, deceptive character. She can play, put on a front and put on a mask and come off one way when she's really something else. So people can misperceive this person or be deceived by her. I often think of one of those narcissistic people that is a victim instead of a grandiose person, right? The meek, mild, feel so sorry for me person, emotionally manipulative, kind of thing. They usually prey on really nice, empathic people because they know that they can put them in a corner, suggest that they do something or ask that they do something. And most people are not going to be buck and confrontational enough to just be like, are you kidding? No. They'll be like, oh, okay, I guess. So these people are like emotionally manipulative. They're deceptive, and usually people that are nice, that don't want to feel like an asshole, are like, well, they're sweet, but it's just they drain my energy. And it's like, actually, these people aren't sweet. They know exactly what they're doing. They're emotionally manipulating people. They're taking advantage of them. So there's lots of different forms of this. This is like, reminds me of like super toxic feminine energy. And what super toxic feminine energy, you got to think of yin versus yang. And so it's like wanting to receive to the point of like taking or being entitled or presumptuous, not being able to fend for yourself or take care of yourself, wanting somebody to take charge so much that you just don't even think for yourself anymore. You want somebody to completely take over and, kind of rule over you, or you don't have the confidence or the backbone to stand up and hold your own and think for yourself. Toxic feminines can start to self-loathe, and so they project that on people that are empowered and liberated, right? Because they don't have that self-empowerment and they're not liberated. So they kind of like put evil eye and evil tongue on people who are, and so they can become gossipy. They can start saying, spreading deceptions and using their sort of gossipy, deceptive ways to manipulate and kind of control situations. Whereas like that toxic masculine, domineering, controlling, out of control, like appetites and lust and perverse and greed and like, make it happen. Like those extreme personalities, think about it, they're always drawn together. Extreme, domineering, controlling, authoritative with meek. I'm not going to confront you. I'm going to be over here like letting you walk all over me, maybe enabling what you're doing. So we see that energy in the media right now, in the news, right, playing out. Like, the old saying, like, behind every great man is a great woman, and it's like behind every masculine Satan there is a feminine Satan. There is the masculine aspect of the opponent and the feminine aspect of the opponent. Now, the masculine aspect of the opponent is like the part that gets you sucked in, and you make that mistake, you start doing the bad things and the bad behavior. The feminine Satan is the enabler, is that voice that makes you feel terrible about yourself, that ruins your self-worth, that ruins your self-esteem, that like whispers the little deceptiveness, but they work in tandem, and you can see that they play out through pairs of individuals in tandem as well. So be careful, just be aware that there is some sort of energy or warning in the air about Queen of Swords reverse. So if you think that there is someone who maybe has it out for you, or you're kind of feeling like your like spidey senses are up about a person, maybe cover your bases. Don't take any chances. Make sure that you are mindful about, your interactions with them, and maybe don't blindly trust this person. If you don't feel good about an individual, don't just blindly trust them. The everything, the energies, the aspects, the planetary conjunctions and movement from one house to another, I can't think, transits, are like, have everything in like this kind of crazy, like heightened, like intensity and tension. And so those of us who use it proactively to, improve our personality and disposition, we're prepared for it, but it's still quite a lot. Now imagine if you have no idea what's going on and you're just impulsively like flailing back and forth between your mood swings and your reactive nature. So vindictiveness, vengefulness, trying to get even, just watch out for this. But also know that when you stand firm in your peace and you're like, you know what? No weapon formed against me shall prosper. All those who rise up against me shall fall. I will not fear what the devil may bring me. I am a servant of God. And more than likely, they are not. And so you stand firm in that. You stand firm in that peace, right? Here's the Four of Swords here going, just be at rest, be at peace. This influence is a pawn within the scene that's playing out right now, but will not harm you. You are protected, you are shielded, you are guided. But the key is that you can't retaliate. You can't, don't answer a fool in their folly, right? Don't get involved in it. Don't get your hands dirty, right? Just zip it. Let the Creator take care of it. Remember when we were learning about evil tongue the other day? If someone like a Queen of Swords reverse type is doing their Queen of Swords reverse thing, it's like, if you don't get upset and retaliate and become reactive and let it bother you and let it change the way you feel about yourself, if you don't do all that, then that negativity bounces off of you and goes right back to them. And the more that they put negativity out at you, if you aren't retaliating and you're even you know what, this is actually helping me rid myself of my own spiritual debt and my own spiritual credit card karma, because not only does their own negativity go back to them to deal with, but they start siphoning off your tikkun for them to have to work off and deal with. Your scales right here, the cosmic scales, it's like they bought your debt, or at least some of it, with their actions. But that is, if you let God take care of it, vengeance is mine. Remember, God said that. Don't get your hands dirty. Just stay true to being a vessel of agape love. Stay focused on your mission. Remember, God needs you focused better or more than he needs Queen of Swords in their comfort zone, pacified in their own self, right? So God needs you focused and doing the good work more than he needs this person in their comfort zone. So have faith that you are being taken care of, that angels are assisting you and guiding you, and invite them in to help you, because they won't intervene if you don't involve them, because they respect our free will and they respect our space. But if you proactively ask for God's help, for angelic help, for the help of our spiritual guides, like our loved ones, sages, prophets, righteous souls, then they will be here to assist us, and you can rest assured they will be. So that is all for tonight. Tomorrow is that new moon eclipse. You're not really supposed to ritual during an eclipse. It's like wild, chaotic energy. You're basically just supposed to let it pass, and hopefully the work that you've already been doing will be accelerated, amplified. So I'm very tired, and tomorrow I'm working, and I don't know if we're gonna be there. We've been there late so often this week. So I ideally would like to do a lunation workshop tomorrow, but I'm not sure what's going to happen. So I don't want to make any empty promises. So we'll either have a new moon workshop, or I think I'll probably just definitely do that instead of the manifestation oracle message. But it's just whether or not I have enough steam left to make a video tomorrow night, because this Valentine's weekend, And then tonight, the shift, it has worn me out. I'm like, my feet are just hurting sitting here. I'm like, oh my God. So I want to make this video, but I don't know what shape I'm going to be in tomorrow. So hopefully we'll be back together tomorrow. If not, just be aware all this potent energy is in the air to plant seeds, to set your vision for who and what you're becoming and creating, and try to be in that space of already being in it, and feed that with love and with joy and with sharing and with effort. All right, y'all, that is all for tonight. Peace.